Hello.
If you hit settings and then go to background.
Yes. I can filter part. Ah, there's a blur now. Whee! Thank you. That was a new one.
Yes, I just saw it.
Thanks. Perfect. Hi, Eric. Hello, Andrea.
Hello. Sorry, I'm late.
No problem. We see the northern lights. It's great. So what do you think? Are we expecting someone else or maybe not?
I don't know. I know Mauricio is on PTO, so he won't be joining. I don't know about the rest. I don't know about Steve or Carol Tracy. Or yeah.
So Steve is still, he is already in the summertime, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that may be an issue.
We might come an hour late. Just after we finish. So is it you, Andrea, who has proposed the agenda?
Yes. Sorry.
Good. No issue. No. That's great.
Bring the agenda here. Okay. Okay. Hopefully you can see. Okay, great. So welcome everyone. So this is I at the CDEvents. So this is a CDEvents vocabulary discussion meeting today. As you mentioned, Emil, during our last meeting, these documents have been relocated under the HackND CDF organization, but the link should be the same. So hopefully everyone has access. So I put a few things on the agenda for today. Let me know if this sounds good. So I was thinking about events. We can still have some chat about the CDEvents content as the conference is getting closer soon. We might talk about the contributor summit if you want. And then I wanted to discuss maybe about the potential idea for workshop, updates on the proof of concept that we're doing, any update if there is on SDKs, and there are free open pull requests that we might want to look at. I hope this covers. That's what I had in mind to cover, but let me know if there is something else you would like to cover or if you would like to change the order.
There is a CDCon virtual day or track or something. But the question is then, of course, should we discuss that here or should we try to focus on the more technical things of this meeting?
Right. So for CDEcon, yeah, that's. Can I edit on the? I mean, we can start with that if you want. I don't mind. We do have a submission that we have done with Eric and myself for CDEcon, and we are still waiting on an answer on that. But of course, I mean, it would be great to have more submissions around CDEvents or the SIG events. So if you have an idea, Matthias, a topic that you would like to submit for CDEcon virtual track, I think that would be great.
But you have submitted to the in-person conference, right?
We have, yes, even though from the latest update that we received, they say that when they send they announce who's going to be, which talks is accepted, they will give people an option to select a virtual presentation for the talk as well.
Ah, okay. So they're not requiring people to travel then nowadays.
Yeah, that was an email that arrived today, at least. Yeah, from Roxanne. So no, not from. Yeah, okay. I need to. Sorry, I think it was from Roxanne.
So I'm not intending to do speaking in person. I was just, curious because I knew it was a requirement to be in person.
Yeah, actually, the email is from the Linux Foundation. It says an important CDEcon update. It's basically maybe they sent only to people who submitted to the conference. But basically it says because of there is this discriminatory legislative effort currently underway in the state of Texas, we have decided that speakers at CDEcon 2022 can participate virtually should they not feel comfortable joining in person. Yeah, it says as well that no action is needed for you at this time. If your talk is accepted, you will be sent an email asking you to confirm your participation either in person or virtually, along with other important speaker logistics. So in a few days, they will let us know if the talk is accepted or not. And then I guess we'll have to decide whether to do it in person or not. I would still be planning on traveling probably, but I don't know. We need to discuss with Eric in case our talk is accepted, what we want to do. But the virtual track is an extra track that has been open. So I think there is a possibility to do an extra submission now, right, Matthias?
Yeah, I'm on the side on Slack. I just wanted to point it out. This was Karen said we will shortly open up a call for paper for virtual check for CDEcon.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to do an extra another submission, or if you have ideas for submissions for the virtual track, by any means, I think it would be great. The more presence we have at the event, the better.
It's weird that I wonder if you've already submitted a talk, if you can submit another one for the virtual track. Or they'll just consider yours for, I don't know how they're doing that. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to give the people who have submitted already the option to present virtually. but I think they will accept more talks than for the virtual track. That's my understanding.
That sounds like a good strategy for them.
What about the option to have a panel discussion or a birds of a feather session? How is that going along? Does anyone know?
Did we submit one?
No, I didn't submit one. I was just thinking if they are
Well, that's-
requesting such or.
Let's submit one for the virtual track.
Yeah, I don't remember now. Wasn't it Carol said that that if there is a panel, it should be in person, but maybe now it doesn't. It's not maybe even more required to have it in person either, due to the.
I think what they're going to do is it'd be nice if they just did a virtual track on another day, but I think what their concern was is they didn't want to have a bunch of people coming into a room to watch a Zoom session.
Right, of course.
But if they're going to have a virtual track, then maybe, I think that personally, I believe that the virtual platform will be better attended than the in-person.
Yeah, and I guess the risk is now when they open up a virtual path or virtual day, the risk is even higher that people might not travel at all.
Mhm.
Also
Yep.
for the in-person part of it. So
Yeah.
I don't think they expected more than like 500 or 600 people to start with at the in-person one. And generally they do, I don't remember what we did last year, but I think I want to say 5,000. So it's almost just 10% of an in-person in terms of the number of people who actually show up to the virtual. I'm glad they're doing it. I was one of the first people who started complaining and I didn't want to travel to Texas, but I will go begrudgingly. I will be there, but I'm glad that they've opened it up so people who don't feel comfortable going there don't have to. Which has got to be uncomfortable for people like Chris Anisich, who lives in Austin. And he has got all these conferences in Austin because the open source summit is in Austin as well. It's like that is Open Source Summit is June 21st through the 24th, and CDCon is June 7th through the 8th. A lot of time in Austin.
Yeah.
So, hey, while we're on this topic, so I finally have the organizational credentials for the CDF online meetup. Do we want to do a CDF online meetup talk? We talked about this, and then I think there was some discussion about a webinar. So there was confusion as if there was a separate two things. And yes, there would be. The CDF online meetup has about 500 members, and we usually get around 40 people. At least we were before we stopped it. About 40 people per session would join, and a lot more post views.
Right. When would that be?
That's up to you. Completely up to you guys. We can schedule it for May, giving us plenty of time to get the information out. And I apologize. I have been a bit tardy or been absent from this group because I had a conflict, but now that the time changed, I don't have a conflict anymore. I think what we have to
change back next time again. Sorry.
I'm hoping they're trying to pass a law that says we're not going to have to put ourselves through this again, which would be brilliant. But anyway, we can do that. We can do it anytime you want to do it. Since I'm the organizer now, we can put it on the schedule for any time. And do we have our proper announcement out about us becoming an actual project? What's the schedule for that?
I'm afraid we don't have one.
Yeah, not yet. No. I mean, we've been working on getting some, what was the quotes for the PR document?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're still missing some, and yeah, I don't know when we want to do it. If we want to put a deadline before some of the conferences coming up or after I think it might be nice to have it maybe before CDCon at least.
So there's, I'm working with the DevOps Institute for putting together a community, actually a real community that people can go and post questions. And I listed out about 15 different topics for community discussion boards. And the third most popular one was CDEvents.
Okay.
And that went out to all of the DevOps Institute ambassadors. I was actually shocked by that. GitLab is got 2 people who want to co-monitor that CDEvents discussion board. The reason why I bring it up is because of the interest. I was surprised. I threw it out there and wondering if people would respond back, and it beat GitOps. It beat a lot of things. It came third under Kubernetes and AWS, or CDEvents. Yeah, so I believe that there's interest in there. On that note, there's still opportunities to speak at the this April CI/CD Skill Up Day. You still can submit talks for that. If anybody's interested in submitting a talk for CDEvents, let me get you that. Let me pull that up. So I think that the word's starting to get out. I think I was really surprised that came up as one of the top ones that people wanted to have a learning discussion board around.
Do you have any link on that? Is that
not yet, but
available?
As soon as it's available, as soon as that is published, they haven't announced it yet. Since I'm working with them, I was the one who gave them some of the topics. I know that topic was selected as one of the early events or the early discussion boards. And I even went back to I went back to the ambassadors and said, "Are we sure that you guys don't think this is CDEvents, meaning things to do, and not an actual platform for orchestrating activities?" And they were like, no, we understand what it is, and we want that they still chose it. So I wanted to make sure that it was clear. So I just put in the chat the page where you can find the speaker information, and I would highly recommend that we have somebody talk about CDEvents at that conference. And then the other thing that we need to make sure that we might want to do is, if you guys haven't heard, they will be doing awards, community awards at CDCon, and you can select or nominate your favorite contributor. So you guys should nominate each other for under the CDF contributor, not under a project contribution, but as a CDF contributor, because this team and of all the teams should be getting recognized for that work. And that's just creating a GitHub. It's already out there. All you have to do is reply to the stream and nominate each other. So on the online meetup, you guys just tell me when, and I will get it scheduled. We can do a panel. Panels are always great to do. I think it's the easiest thing to do, and we've done them before, and you guys do a great job of them. So I think we could put together a panel discussion pretty quickly, and you guys give me a date, and I will make it happen.
What is the normal time of day when these things happen? I saw it was quite late, at least for European time, in the previous meetup.
Yes, it's usually around 7 p.m. I think your time. What time is it there now?
5 p.m.
Yeah, we usually do it around noon. So we do it noon Mountain Time, which makes it 2 o'clock Eastern and 11 o'clock Pacific, which makes it around 7 o'clock your time.
Probably, yeah. It could maybe limit our possibilities to join depending on what date it is, but
we can always do it if it works earlier for you guys. We can always do it earlier. The date and the time is completely open. So if you want to do it at 10 o'clock, and that's 9 o'clock in Pacific and noon in New York, that totally works too. And for a panel, what we could do is I can moderate it. We can get a shared Google Doc going, come up with questions that you want me to round robin between you. And that keeps everybody from having to do a proper presentation or try to do a demo or anything like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me. If we can be a few of us there, we can do a panel. I think it makes a bit more interactive than like one person presenting. But
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good setup actually as well. And if I'm available, I'm volunteering to join there as well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't I do this? Why don't I start a shared doc, and let me just start it right now, and I'll share it with you guys right this moment. And we can start working on dates and topics, dates, times, and topics.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tracy. So. Okay, then for just quickly going back to the virtual track for CDCon, do we want to do a panel submission there as well? Anyone, and if yes, anyone would be volunteering to do that? No? Yes.
Does it make sense to have two panels close to each other? I mean, it might be somewhat the same audience, or what do you think? Of course, not exactly the same, but having two panels as
I don't think it's a problem with
close
having
in
two
time.
panels.
Okay.
And we can work you can use your same doc for this, for both panels for that matter. Okay, there is the link. So it's out there, it just has a title right now, but we can at least start collaborating around it from then.
Thanks, Tracy.
Yeah.
So what I can do, I can ask Cara at least if panels are accepted for the virtual track. And if we have confirmation, we might be able to reuse some of the work that we do for the online meetup for making a submission there as well. All right, thanks, Tracy. So for the DevOps Institute, we have the CFP open. If anyone's interested to submit there. And yeah, personally, I won't be able to do that. I'm away. I'm on PTO for some time in April, so I won't be around. Right. So in terms of CDEvents Con, sorry. I don't know if you've seen that we have an event page. It looks like this now.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
How exciting. I want to go to Spain to this. I'm not going to be able to. It's just too much going on in May, but that's so exciting.
And yeah, learn more, points to the website for now. And hopefully we can get, sorry, that's some bars in the way. Yeah, hopefully we can get an RSVP at some point. I was discussing with Cara so that we can get an idea of who's going to, how many people are going to be there. But yeah. So,
Is this live right now? Is that something we can start pushing out from a social media perspective?
it is live, but last time I checked, it was not yet in the shed page.
Yeah.
So let me check. Let me check with Cara. When I get a confirmation from her, I will tell you. We can push it then on the media. Sorry, I'm trying to look for something and talking at the same time, and it doesn't work. Where's the right? Let me check. Okay, so explore the schedule. So they're still not there on the chat
it's not there.
page. So maybe as soon as we have it on the chat page, maybe we can get the RSVP button as well, and then we can start promoting it.
Okay.
I see the fav icon for that is not the correct one. The CD icon there on this header. On that one, yeah. You see
Here?
up there? No, in the tab in your browser. The fav icon for this, yeah, there. That's not the real one, the correct one, right? Because the one to the right is without the right radius, let's say. I'm not wondering where that comes from. It's not a big concern, but I just noticed that it's different.
Yeah.
I wonder where it comes from. Because that doesn't really exist, that icon.
Yeah, no, I guess someone
in the artwork.
Just cut this to
Yeah.
make a fav icon.
Probably, yeah. Whatever,
Yeah.
not a big deal. Just noticed.
Good eyes.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of content planning, yeah, we still need more content for this. So we need keynotes and we need several talks and possibly panel workshops. And yeah, I wanted to ask you, Tracy, if you were going to be there. If you were interested in maybe setting up a nice panel, but you're not, unfortunately.
No, there's just no way. If I went to that, it'd be almost 6 weeks where I wasn't even home.
Yeah, no, I understand.
There's Swamp Up, there's CDCon, there's Skill Up Fest that I need to be at, and then there's Open SSF all in a row.
Oh, okay. Of travel. Right. So yeah, I mean, content. Steve mentioned that we might be able to get some talk from Ortelius' team, but I haven't heard from him.
You know, we just had our community outreach. Let me shoot that over. Let me send it out to the group.
Yeah, if there is anyone from the Ortelio community who would be interested in talking, that's great. Also, I mean, it would be great to keep our speakers diverse. So if you have any non-male speaker in mind, that's always great. Right now, don't have many diverse options.
And when is it? May? It's early May. May 7th.
17th, right?
It's
Yeah,
17th. Yes, it's going to be on 17th. So my idea for the content is to basically in the keynotes have some introduction about events and where events are now in CI/CD. Be giving some numbers there, making interesting presentation and about how events are used and the problems that exist in the missing interoperability, and then to have talks from different projects, possibly that how they use events today, because we cannot really have talks about implementation of CDEvents much because they're not implemented very much out there yet. But it would be good to get to know how, for instance, how Ortelius are using events today, how Captain are using events. Yeah, so for Captain, there is a Captain event happening in the afternoon, but in the morning, the Captain folks might be available. So I'm also waiting for confirmation for a talk. There are some candidates there. For Tecton, I have a talk confirmed from VPAV, who is interested in presenting the work that we've done in Tecton side to implement CDEvents there and how we use events there. We reached out to the Spinnaker community and waiting for a response there. Also, it would be good to get someone from Jenkins, and I'm also waiting on a response on that front. And yeah, there was mentioned by Matthias in the mail that we might have a IFL presentation if travel becomes possible for them. And that's in terms of talks, the options that are on the table today. And in terms of demos, so there is a demo that we're working on for collecting metrics by CDEvents. It's just on paper right now, so there is still quite some work to be done there. And there is a demo that Mauricio and Isha are working on from using CDEvents in Knative, and that would also be good to have it presented there. Yes, and other things that we could do in terms of content, we could organize a panel or a workshop. And one idea that I had for a workshop would be developing events adapter for CDEvents using the SDKs. But today we only have the Golang SDK, so we could use the existing Golang SDK. But if we are able to prepare a new version of the SDK, or maybe a Python or Java SDK until the conference, that we could do something based on those. Yeah, so those are the ideas that are on the table.
I also heard from the organizers that there was it was intended to have a CDF booth on the conference, but as I understand it, that booth will not be there for CDF. At least not. I mean, the intention was that CDEvents project could have half a day or 1 day on the conference in that booth dedicated to the project. But as I understood it, the booth will not anymore be there. If I was, if I got it correctly during KubeCon.
I see. Okay, I didn't know about that.
That's what I, if I interpreted that information correctly, that's the case. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Okay. So is anyone interested in contributing to any content for the conference from this group?
You know what? I believe that Brad McCoy out of Australia would be an excellent person to present on, you know, kind of a demo of the work we've done with Ortelius. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can get funding to make it to Spain. Can we do something like that? Do you know if they'll have any way to show a Zoom session for that?
I don't know. I think the plan as till now has been to do everything
in person.
This is in person, because we're going to have like a room with 60 space for 60 attendees. So I don't know if they plan for remote speakers. But
all we need is a screen and some way to present. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the only way to get good content, if the right people is not going to be there, then yeah, sure. I mean that. Yeah.
I think we should at least ask, right?
Yes, that's a very good point. I will ask Kara what the kind of facility we would have there. And yeah, they would.
If it's a room for like 60 people, it's probably already a meeting room. It's already set up with a at least a way to project on a screen.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, and that might help also in case travel is not possible for you, Emil and Matthias, if you wanted to do some IFL presentation. That would make it easier for that as well. Okay, so I will check in terms of remote attendees, and I will let you know, Tracy, and then maybe we can, if that's an option, we can have a chat with Brad if he would be available. And yeah, okay, cool. Anything else? Any other ideas in terms of content or any comment on the current plan?
I think I would like to or I would like to offer up some presentation, but I would need to think a little bit more about exactly what that would be that would fit this context. But I will get back to you on that. Could be, for instance, like Volvo Cars is using events quite substantially internally. It's a very simple event protocol, but it's at least something, so it could possibly be a candidate for it. But let me think a bit about that.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think at least from what I've heard from you on the Volvo use case, I think it's a very very powerful story that you have there. So I think it would be great content for CDEventsCon. Cool.
Is the intention that you and I will sort of do the regular FOSDEM talk that we did here as well, or is that, or do we not want to repeat that, so to say?
We could do that, yes, but it depends. I mean, if you want to do a talk specific on the Volvo use case, you don't want to have too much overlap in terms of content. So we can do a talk together, and like the same that we have done with FOSDEM, like introduction to CDEvents. Yeah. Or we could adapt that. We could use some of that to build the keynote as well. That's an option. Maybe add some story more about other projects as well, and use some of the material to build the keynote, and then have a separate presentation for the Volvo use case.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think it's more important that if you feel that you could take the presentation as it is and present it, do that rather than like trying to make up something new, because I think it's more important that you actually get to do something to present than actually squeezing yourself to produce something unique, even though there might be overlap between presentations. If you get my point there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, as you said, it might be more valuable to have a full program than to have minimized overlap.
Yeah, precisely. That's a good summary.
Yeah. I mean, for the keynote, my idea was we should have something not too long, maybe 10-15 minutes, and something that like makes a strong point why we need interoperability in CI/CD and why events. So maybe talk about how events are kind of ubiquitous and they're used everywhere in CI/CD already, but there is no like common format. And yeah, provide some examples, some data about this, and introduce the CDEvents project.
Should we try? Do you think it's a good idea we try to crowdsource that presentation, or should one do it himself?
I would definitely, in any case, I think it would be good to get a review on eyes from the project, from the team here in the project on the presentation. Or you could try to work together on it, or can have someone preparing it and then doing a review together. I was planning on doing some work on that myself, but depending on who's going to be there at the event, we can decide.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I mean, if you think about anything else that, or anyone else that might be interested in presenting, or any content that you think would be good to have here, please let me know. I've put in mind filling a good almost part of the schedule between keynotes and some demos. We had some ideas about doing like workshop as well, but we have to see if we have one workshop. Someone is available to implement one. And also we had some ideas about doing like design and specification sessions. But my current thinking is that for that, maybe the CDCon event, like it's more of a contributor summit, there would be a better place to do that. If we have like, if we have a few people signing up for the event, I think it would be difficult to hold like a design and specification session with a large group of people. So I'm thinking if we have like a room, we could do things like talks, demos, maybe a workshop, if anyone is available to build one. Or we could try another idea is, sorry, you're going to say.
Well, I guess that also depends on the how many people are there. Or did you think of doing the workshop in the contributor summits virtually, or?
No, I was just thinking of the type of content that would fit for the event. So I think for
Okay.
If we have if you're able to prepare a workshop, that might be a good way to use some of the time of the event, because if we have people, contributors from different projects in the room, then you could show them, okay, this is how you implement the events in your project, and I think that would be valuable. But yeah, it takes some work to develop a workshop for that. Personally, I don't think I will have enough bandwidth to work on that. So if anyone wants to volunteer to work on a workshop, we can build one for the event. But otherwise, yeah, we might skip on that. But yeah, we could have I mean, if we prepare a workshop for that event or in general, it's something that we can then reuse for different events. So we could use it in other meetups or conferences for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, anything else on this CDEvents.con? Stickers. SVP. Eric, you mentioned that you will be there, right?
Yes.
Tracy, unfortunately not. Okay. Shall we move on then to the next topic? mean, I had one for workshop, but I think we mentioned this already. In terms of proof of concepts for Canadian POCs, Ishar is not here. I know I was chatting with him this morning. He's working on the POC, making some progress on it. So, but I don't have any specific updates. For the metrics POC, I got some feedback from Matthias. So thanks for reviewing, and from Emil as well. So thanks for your comments on that. Yeah, so I will try to get some more concrete work done on this in the upcoming days. Let me know if you have any further comments, or if you think you have, I would like to collaborate or contribute to this, just reach out to me. Okay. SDKs, I know there was some interest in developing SDKs in different languages. I don't know if anything happened or if there is any concrete plan on any of those.
For the Python, I guess no. I'm thinking a little bit. So Matthias has been discussing having schemas for our messages, and I'm wondering which should come first, so to say, because obviously it would be easier to create SDKs if we have defined schemas. It's not a requirement, but it's sort of a nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I started looking into that, but yeah.
Because there are tools to generate code out of schemas. So I don't know how pretty they are actually, but you can use schemas to generate a code. So you can at least have something to start with.
And I guess yeah, that would be one, but at least to be able to say, okay, my version of the SDK is compatible with this version of the schemas. So we understand, like, okay, how up to date is this SDK?
Right. The schemas will only allow to generate some part of it, like the body that goes into the cloud events, right? So I think it would be good to have at least some scaffolding for the for how the SDK will look like.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I wanted to understand if schemas are like blocker for any work to be done on the SDKs, or if you have any, I mean, what kind of availability in terms of time you have to work on the SDKs.
Yeah, for me, it's unfortunately going to be quite busy for at least a few weeks, but hopefully by mid-April, things should start to open up a bit more.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll continue working. I'm working on the spec. I've got a PR that I started down below. I've not added the schemas yet, but that's part of the work that I'm doing. So as soon as that is done, hopefully we can start getting some work on the SDKs as well. All right. Anything else on SDKs? Once we have 10 minutes left, we can have a look through the PRs. So the first PR is from Matthias. I propose some content for the README.
Yeah, I wanted to like do some kind of background introduction for people that were kind of like new to cloud events or to new to CDEvents, was like what this is actually doing. So that's trying to flesh out a bit on that subject. And I didn't know really where to put it, so I put it in the first I wanted to put it in a spec, but maybe it was better in the README, so I put it in README. And then try to figure out a common denominator in the messages we sent out when starting both SIG events and CDEvents, and try to comprise that and add in some of my own ideas into it. So feel free to question anything if you think it's too controversial or things we should add and so on.
Yeah, I left them. So thanks for this, first of all. So I think the content looks good to me. My proposal would be to maybe include I think it was till here, or the first part in the README, maybe the rest to put it into the primer document. So just to keep the main README smaller, not go into many details on the core README. But that was my suggestion. Yeah, I had some comments as well on webhooks. I'm not sure about the why not webhooks. Yeah, so mainly, I think if you look at cloud events, I think webhooks is one of the options for transporting the events. So I wasn't sure I wanted to make like a strong statement against webhooks on the main README. I mean, but
I wasn't 100% sure of that one either. Yeah, so that's why I said if it's too controversial. So I'm perfectly fine if you feel that we should not put that in. I can remove that part.
Okay. All right. Well, if you don't have a strong case for this, maybe we could remove the why not webhooks part. But yeah, otherwise it looks good. Maybe we can have. I think there are a few comments. If you want to address the comments.
Yeah, I should have done that. I missed that. So that's on my to-do list.
Okay, and then maybe hopefully we can merge then that soon. Okay, 6 minutes left. So the next one is service published. So this is for the Knative, but yeah, Ishan is not here, so I don't think there is much we can discuss on this. Yeah, I know you requested some more information, Matthias, and hopefully we'll come back on this. The third one, I just wanted to briefly mention, I'm still working on it, but I wanted to quickly introduce it to get an idea what people think about it, see if it's going in the right direction. Okay, no, GitHub is having some serious issues today.
Yeah, we've been struggling with GitHub the last few days.
Yeah, it's been not very nice for a couple of weeks now.
No, I know they've been having a bad time.
Okay, so for the core documents, apart from the table of content, I added a section called types, saying, okay, that we use the type system from Cloud Events, but we have some more types of our own. One is the enum, which is same as strings, but constrained to a fixed set of options for cases where we have fixed values that we want to specify. And then list and object. I think we already had a reference at some point to a subject that is an object, and I wanted to clarify what that is. So object is a map of key value tuples where keys are strings and values can be any of the other kind. And the list, we don't have any list yet, but I thought we could add it, or I could remove it for now until it's used. But a list is a list of values of the same type. And I think this will be useful when we introduce links. Then we can have multiple links, so you can have a list of things of the same type there.
Comment there, should we have any restrictions on the key structure? I mean, should it be, for example, a camel case or something on those keys, or could it be whatever you think, or would it make sense to have some limitations or best practice there?
That's a very good point. Names. Yeah, I will add something about that. Thanks, Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I'm starting to restructure, if we could see it, would be no, it's not going to work. Anyways,
but can you click the graphical diff instead?
Oh yeah, nice. Thanks. So basically what I'm trying to do is in the top of the document, like the core MD, to identify what are the subjects that we have. So in this, with a table, in case we have pipeline run and task run, the description and the link to the different predicates for each. And then for each of the subject, I have a table which specifies what are the different attributes with a description and examples. So in case of the pipeline run, so we have the ID and with some more content. So like what is an ID? So it must be, for instance, a uniquely identify the subject within the source. And some example to give an idea of how to fill this in. Same for task run, it's not done yet. And then for the events, going into the events, this is still work in progress, but like for pipeline run, queued, some description about the event, what is the event type, the predicate, the subject, and then for each of the field that was defined here, say which one is mandatory and which one is permitted. So let's say we're sending a pipeline run queued event. We still want to have the ID, the pipeline run name, but we will not have like errors or details about the failure of the pipeline because it doesn't make sense to have them there. And I'm doing this for all the events. And the idea is that then based on these tables, then we can generate the schema. So transform this in the cloud event binding document, basically write this information in a JSON schema format or something similar.
Good. So when you're talking about stream and documentation, just a reflection here. So in Eiffel, we have had both JSON schemas and the documentation in two different places. But we found it's sometimes a bit difficult to make sure that you correlate both of them, documentation and the schema. So what we're doing right now is basically we are trying to centralize documentation and schema. So we have defined a custom format where we are intending to generate out schemas and documentation from a custom or a central format. So I just wanted to raise that, just that idea or what we're doing there right now, so people are at least aware of it. I don't know if we want to go that path, but just raise awareness of it.
It's a very good point. I had some thoughts about it as well. Yeah, right now I would like to try and get this finished, and I think that would be hopefully sufficient to create a 0.1 version that we could have in time for the conference. But I totally agree that in terms of maintaining this over time, we might want to have some like machine readable format or so that we use to generate this.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think it's okay to hard code this for now. It might be quicker to do it instead of inventing the format and all the translators or generators at this stage. But of course, we should look into that quite soon as well, I think.
Yeah, it's a good idea to do it. So I'm not against it. I'm just mentioning it to have the back of the head.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. I mean, we could maybe reuse some of what the work that's been done for Eiffel as well there. Oh yeah, we are at time.
I guess you can present that someday, Matthias, how that's done when it's actually merged and proven to work.
Yes.
It's not yet merged, so yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's a good idea. Yep.
All
We
right.
can present that.
All right, we are at time, but thanks a lot and good to see
Hey,
everyone.
there's one thing I
Yeah.
want to bring your attention. Have you guys seen this tool? Let me look. Let me find it again. It's just an interesting tool I ran across. I don't know what I was hunting for, but I did find it. And I reached out to the guy and I got a demo, and it's pretty interesting the way they implemented events. They used cloud events. Didn't know if you'd heard of him before.
It was brought up in one of those meetings, right?
Yes,
I think it was Steve who mentioned it.
you've mentioned
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yep.
I've not looked into
Try
it
to make sure it's on your
yet,
radar. Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely want to.
Yeah, I had brought it up. I had showed it to Steve to find out what he thought about it. He had some opinions too.
Any chance of having somebody come and talk about it?
Yeah, I can reach out to the guy. His name is Willem, and I can't think of his last name, but I know I can find him.
Yeah, that would be.
Great. Yeah. I think they are in Australia, most of them, if I look at the contributors in that
They
GitHub
are.
project.
They are. And Brad McCoy, who runs our Ortelius open source project from Australia, is who is now I recall who asked me if I had ever heard of them.
Okay.
Interesting that they've already built in. What I really found interesting was they already built in OPA into it.
Oh,
Cool.
interesting.
So I'll reach out to him and
Yeah,
see if he probably wouldn't be able to do it at this time. We'd probably have to do it a little later because it's probably pretty early or late for him at this hour.
Yeah.
Quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could set up an ad hoc session, or maybe we could, I don't know.
Let's discuss it on Slack, I guess, to find out the time
Yep.
slot when that can be done.
I'll reach out to him and see what time he's open to do it.
Great.
All right. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you guys.
Good job, Andrea. See you.
See you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.